Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of Bases and Blitzes. As usual, we're going to be talking about the Bears and the White Sox. There's not much going on with the White Sox, though. So, there's just a couple things that are starting to get going. But aside from that, the winter meetings haven't started. So, nothing too crazy going on. First, there are, of course, trade talks because it is that time of the year. Happy holidays. Um, People are looking into Kyle Teal, our catcher. What? No. Sorry. No. There's not much more to say besides that. I really like Kyle Teal. And I really like Edgar Quiero. And they are such studs at catcher. And if we got rid of one of them, who who's behind them? I don't even know. So, what would we do? Cuz the whole reason why we got him was from the Garrett Crochet trade, and he was like top in the Red Sox farm system. And for the White Sox to want to trade him, or to be like, oh, we might trade him. No, let's just shut that down immediately. You shut down the Luis Robert thing immediately. And Kyle Teal is so much more valuable than Luis Robert. So let's stop that talk. Chris Getz was like, well, I have to get something spectacular back for Kyle Teal. Yeah, you do. If you're going to trade with a team, you have to get at least 2 top 10 prospects. That's crazy. Or at least 4 top 25 in their system. 3, 4 stretching, but 3. Because we got to get good guys. Unless they want an immediate starting right fielder and they give us a mediocre catcher in return. But we don't want a mediocre catcher. We want Kyle Teal. This is making me mad because I genuinely really like Kyle Teal. So if he gets traded, I don't know what I would do. I would be so upset. Oh my, that core, I absolutely love this developing core. And if he was booted out of it, I wouldn't be able to deal with that. The White Sox have to keep Kyle Teal. I'd be so upset. But other than that, the White Sox have been pretty quiet. They did trade for or sign Chris Murphy from the Red Sox. So every year they make a deal with the Red Sox. It's the craziest thing. Last year was a whole Garrett Crochet trade. And that's all I got. That is all I got. They did have that major Chris Sale signing or trade years ago where we got 2 very bad players in return. Now they're gone. Hooray! Yeah. Aside from that, the winter meetings haven't started, so nothing insane is going on where it's oh my gosh, last winter meetings was so boring. The only big thing was Garrett Crochet. And maybe a couple little guys here and there. But well, also, I don't think we would need to have a big winter meetings thing because there's no point to it. Stuff that the White Sox have just been announcing or talking about is Sox Fest is coming back for their annual Sox Fest. And that's just when players are going to go have some fun, talk to fans, interact with everybody, and that's going to be at the end of January, I think the 30th-ish, around that time. So that should be really fun. Unfortunately, I will be here in Pittsburgh at school, so I won't be able to attend, but that's okay. I'll see it online. Another thing that I saw online is that there's a new annual MLB golf tournament. What in the world? Not Kyle, too. Corey Lee, our other catcher, who played one game in right, strangely enough. He was playing with Paul Konerko. Those two were playing golf as the White Sox representatives against all the other teams. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that so fun? That's a really cool tradition that they're going to start. And I absolutely love that they're doing that. Because it just seems so unique. Even though golf's not necessarily unique. It's more just like players play golf in the off season anyways. Why not make it a tournament and fun? So they're doing that. I hope they're doing well. I just saw it on Instagram and nothing followed up, so they might be out. I don't really know. But it might have been just a weekend thing and for fun. But yeah, another fun thing that happened at Wright yesterday, Wednesday, was Brooke Fletcher. She's the White Sox field reporter, sideline reporter, all the above. And she is so good at it. And I very much look up to her, of course, because she has the job that I dream of having. And she's doing, like I said, a fantastic job. I also met her. So she's just an amazing person all around. I adore her. And I hope that her podcast went really well. Because she filmed her Sidelines podcast there. They just filmed an episode, her and her co-host. And how fun is that? I hope that episode comes out so well. I absolutely love listening to her podcast. Just because she's so conversational. It just feels so natural for her to ask questions. Like, when she asks questions, it's not like cookie cutter, like, insert question here. It's more just like it comes up as you're talking. It's not forced at all. And I absolutely love that about her. Because if I could do that in the future and just make it super easy for whoever I'm interviewing and also myself, that would be the dream. That would be fantastic. So I hope Brooke Fletcher had a fantastic filming of her podcast. And I look forward to having it come out. And I'm looking forward to listening to it. I think they come out on Fridays. So hopefully it comes out tomorrow and I can listen to it. Yay! That's all I have for the White Sox. There is other baseball news. I guess this is kind of White Sox news relevant because it is one of our previous pitchers, Dylan Cease. King. I absolutely love Dylan Cease. I love Dylan Cease. He was a great pitcher. He almost threw a no-hitter with us. Halfway St. Patrick's Day game. Luis Ariz got a single to break it up. And then Dylan ended up going to the Padres with Luis Ariz. And he caught his last out in his no-hitter against the Nationals. So it was like a full circle moment right there. But back to Dylan Cease. He is in talks, because he's a free agent, he's in talks with the Red Sox to sign with them. So he'd be reunited with Garrett Crochet. Oh my goodness. Dynamic duo right there. 1 and 2. Studs. What more could you want out of a starting pitching staff? I don't know much about the Red Sox and their pitching staff or what's going on with them. I just know Lucas Giolito was there for a little bit. Liam Hendricks was there for a little bit. And I don't know if they're still there. But if Dylan Cease was added to the starting rotation that has Garrett Crochet in it, oh my gosh, they'd be unstoppable. in theory, because Dylan Cease did have not the best year, but that's okay because he's Dylan Cease. He's gonna bounce back. His little slider poem. I can't. He's the funniest guy ever. He does the most random things. He wrote a poem. He writes poetry. He listens to classical music, which is like that's that I heard is like good for you, and it's like supposed to make you smarter. So like good for him. He does frisbee golf, like frisbee discs. I don't know what that means. He has like a bunch of cats. He like paints. He just lives like 40 different lives during the off season. And even in season, he does this stuff. He's a funny guy. And not more much else to say about that one. I hope wherever he goes, he is successful and has a great season and does great because he definitely deserves it. Moving forward to a different sport, we're going to talk about football because there is a lot to unpack this week against the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers making his final return to Soldier Field. I wasn't necessarily part of the whole, or I wasn't really around. Like, of course, I'm from Chicago, so I know about the Aaron Rodgers hate, and I know about him being a complete mean person to Bears fans. But I never really... I think I was too young to understand what was truly going on and just him as a person, because I like paid attention occasionally to games, whatever. You know, I watched the Bears. I didn't watch a random quarterback for our rival team because he's irrelevant to me. And why should I pay attention to him? Even though everyone hates him, blah, 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 Aaron Rodgers, I don't care. Like, I literally do not care, and he does not care either. So it's mutual. But I just have a few stats from Rodgers' career that Bears fans might want to skip over. So, Rodgers returns to Soldier Field. He is 12-3 there, all time. He's very much pushing to play this week, week 12, because he fractured his left wrist. Play. You're playing, pal. Suck it up. Get it taped. You're playing. The Bears want you. They want to play you. They want you gone. They want to defeat you. Trust. They're not scared. They don't care. Like, they literally, like, don't care. He is... Oh, this might be a little triggering. He's 11-1 since 2011 against the Bears. At Soldier Field. And 26-5 against the Bears over the last 15 seasons. All time. It's like both locations. He has an infamous "I own you" catchphrase, saying that he owns Soldier Field, he owns the Bears, this is his house. Who cares? Shut up. Go home. Nobody cares about you. Bears still hate his guts. And as I mentioned, this will be his final appearance at Soldier Field. Let's make it a good one. Okay? Let's not make it scary. Let's not make it the last 2 minutes. Let's actually, win from the beginning. And keep it that way. So Caleb Williams doesn't have to, pull some, magic trick out of nowhere, out of literally thin air, and do some random crap to whoever the receiver is, or tight end, or running back. Whatever is going to happen, let's have it happen the entire game. Let's win the entire game. and not trail. As I mentioned, Bears fans want to see Aaron Rodgers. They want to boo him. They want him on the field. Ugh. He's gonna, like, live it up, though. He's gonna feel it. He's gonna be like, yeah. Because I don't really know him, but I know he's not a good person, personality-wise, because he's just odd. He's kind of just, like, whenever you see interviews with him, he's so full of himself. It's like, dude, you have to be, like, not a real person. You have to be, you're serious. You genuinely think this highly of yourself? All right. All right. I see you, pal. I see you. And yeah, they just want him to play through his fractured wrist. My dad said, because he's obviously back home in Chicago, he said it feels like Packers week, because all the news is just saying how much everyone wants Aaron Rodgers, blah, blah, blah. And it just very much fuels the Bears to be like, we're going to win, we're going to do this and that. We're going to, like, beat them up. But on the other side, the Steelers side, defensively, I saw something on my most reliable source, Instagram Reels. And it was that the Steelers hired a quarterback to act like Caleb Williams and be, like, slippery and get out of the pocket like how he does. I don't know how that's really legal, unless he's, like, a practice squad guy, which is, like, that's fine. But, like, can't they not? I don't care. I'm not even going to finish that train of thought. It's whatever. But yeah, they're just, like, trying to make sure that Caleb Williams doesn't get out of the pocket. Hopefully our O-line locks in, because they have been. But we'll see about that one. The whole Aaron Rodgers thing, it's just, like, I don't want to be, like, that person, but I don't care. Like, yeah, he was a Packer, and yeah, he's, like, annoying. But I will admit, I do not understand the rivalry just yet. I'm still very young. I do not like the Packers in any way, shape, or form, but I will tolerate them. It's also because my roommate is a Packer fan. But I will tolerate them as much as I have to until we play them. Then I don't want to hear it when we play each other, because that's, like, where it gets, like, bad. But whatever. It's fine. Like, on a more positive note, the Bears are looking for a little playoff run. They're in the playoff hunt. They are first in the NFC North. First place. Yippee! First place. I just gotta mention a little bit. There's just, like, against the Lions, I gotta, like, divert from the little topic I have. But against the Vikings last week, the only reason they won, I will say, this is the reason they won, is because of Colston Loveland. I know, I talk about him a lot. Wonder why? Can you guess why? But I genuinely, because that third down play he had, where, like, he once again broke the corners, whoever it was, broke two of them, and kept running. King, like, he got his first down, and then everything was set up from there. Like, okay, King, keep doing that. You're doing great. Anyways, just had to, like, insert that. Whatever. Back to the playoffs. They started 0-2 on the season, losing to the Vikings by a field goal, and then the Lions in horrific fashion by 31 points. They locked in, though, because now the record is 7-3. They've only lost one game since then, and that was against Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens. But that's okay, because they're still first in the division as of now. And that is fantastic to know. When we're looking at the playoffs, I think they're gonna win the Super Bowl. I need to stop saying that. My dad's gonna like flame me. It's also not counterintuitive. That's not the right word. It also goes against what Ben Johnson is saying and preaching. He's like, we have to go 1-0 each week. Yeah. Or like, he doesn't like using the P word, playoffs. I think in a press conference, he was like, yeah, we don't really use the P word. And then the audience is like, playoffs? And he's like, yeah. Because we want to go 1-0 each week. Whatever works for you, King. I also saw a thing where Cole Kmet was like, when Ben Johnson first came in, he started doing that, like, good, better, best thing. He was confused. Everyone was confused. He was like, what is this guy doing? It was, like, cringy at first. But now that they're winning and it's working, they fuel it. And they get fueled by it. They love it now. Which is so funny. Because at first, of course, when you're, like, losing, you're like, what is going on? You're like, this is not gonna, like, be sustainable or last. But then once you start winning and it's like funny and it's like this is working, then it's like fun and you start saying it more and it's actually like part of your like thing, which I thought was fun. Ben Johnson did say during a press conference, we're way far away from that, speaking of the playoffs. I haven't been thinking about that. We're really in the third quarter of the season, and we have a tough opponent coming up here on Sunday. Steelers, I would say, would be pretty tough, especially because it's Aaron Rodgers, but, you know, whatever. And we're only in the third quarter of the season, meaning they still have 7 games left to play. And December is historically an issue for the Bears. He's trying to avoid Ben Johnson is trying to avoid a daunting December, and he knows that he's mentioned multiple times that it is a hurdle for them, and he wants to make it as smooth as possible and not an issue. December, I looked this up because I knew December was kind of an issue, but I didn't really know the extent of it. But it started back in 2012 when Lovie Smith was fired, and this was in the Matt Forte era. I'm reading his book right now. It's a really good book. I really like Matt Forte. Again, I was too young to know. I knew he was running back. I knew he was one of the greats. But I didn't know the extent of how good he was and the type of person he was until reading this book. And I really like this book. It gets into like more of like the nitty-gritties of his life and just like seasons. Same happened to Matt Nagy in 2021. He was 1-3 in December. Ben Johnson's goals is to have the Bears play the best football in December. Okay, King. Let's do that. Let's do that. I trust Ben Johnson. Truly. I'm a very trustworthy person, if you can't tell. I hear one thing, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Like, Super Bowl winners, World Series winners, White Sox. So, like, Stanley Cup winners, Blackhawks. That'll take a while. Bulls are back. You know, just like Chicago sports are just back. So, yeah, but I truly trust Ben Johnson in all seriousness. I think he's doing good for the team, and he knows what he's doing. Everything right now is just about the Steelers. He's just trying to focus on every week's opponent, and, like, kind of has a short turnaround after the Steelers. They play the Eagles on Friday, Black Friday, after Thanksgiving. That one's going to be an interesting game because there's stuff going around saying that the Bears and Eagles have an alliance. Oh, that one's funny because the Bears have beaten every single one of the Eagles NFC West opponents. East. I am geographically challenged. East. And the Eagles have defeated all of the NFC North opponents. And now they face head to head. We'll see how that one goes. Transitioning on, everyone better say sorry to Ryan Poles, the GM of the Chicago Bears. Because before drafting of 2025, he put a heavy emphasis on the offensive side of the ball improvement. And he was very much saying, like, I'm going to improve this, I'm going to like do this, that, blah, blah, blah. And with his first pick, number 10, he selected Colston Loveland, tight end from the University of Michigan. Of course. People are saying they were shocked by that. I wasn't. I was the one who picked him. Like, I literally called it. I was like, they're going to pick Colston Loveland. And they did. I was like, yay. But it was shocking to some fans, media, whoever had stuff to say, because they already had a tight end, Cole Kmet, and Tyler Warren was a better option. What? He's on the Colts and he's eating up, but that's also because the Colts... In what way was Tyler Warren a better option? Like, genuinely. Like, yeah, he's on the Colts and they're doing so well. But, like, Colston Loveland, if you just... just look at him. He's better. Nothing more else to say. There were a couple surprises in the draft as well. Ohio State running back Travion Henderson was available, and we just skipped him. Ryan Poles did, at least. And decided to choose Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III. Another surprise, they already had DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. You could still take guys that are good. Like, what? That one doesn't make sense to me. How people were, like, mad about that one. First of all, there's special teams. He started on special teams this year. Being a kick return guy. Kickoff return. And why would you... Whatever. People, I don't know. I don't know that much, but I feel like other people also don't. And so because of this, because of these two draft picks, Ryan Poles was taking a lot of heat. I liked these picks. I thought they were solid. I was like, aw, how fun, how nice. Now look at them. Now everyone better say sorry. Let me read some stats from Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. Luther Burden has caught 16 of his 18 passes. You cannot say that about any of our other receivers. Don't even get me started on DJ Moore this week. We had Zacchaeus last week. Now we have DJ Moore. 2 passes hit him right in the chest, and he decided to drop them. And of course, the one catch he had, I'll get into it later. The one catch he had was fantastic. Incredible. But then he drops, like, easy ones that hit him right in the chest. Make that make sense. It doesn't. It literally doesn't. Anyways. 16 of his 18 passes for 222 yards. Ranked 5th on Bears in average depth of target. 7.8 yards. Only receiver averaging more than 2 yards per route run. 2.71 yards. And leads receiving group in PFF, that stands for Pro Football Focus. That's a little stat they take. Receiving grade, he leads our receivers in the receiving grade, 7.5%, and his passer rating when targeted is 136.6 minimum in his 15 targets, or minimum 15 targets. So he's just, like, getting all these stats up. He's doing great. Why are we mad. Why were we mad? Because that... Nope. Next, we're going to talk about Colston Loveland and what he's doing for the team. He has caught 21 of his 29 passes. Really good. 289 yards. And he has had 13 first downs. Two of which were breaking safeties, breaking corners, doing whatever, and like getting through. And just like being like big and strong, whatever. Ranks top 10 among tight ends. Ugh. He's ranked top 10 among tight ends in catching 21 plus yards. He is 5th. Okay, whatever. He's also... Oh. This one, we could just skip past, but I'll just, like, briefly say it. He's ranked 6th worst in PFF pass blocking grade. 42.2%. I mean, it makes sense. Like, I understand it, but, like, no. But he's also ranked top 15 as a run blocker with 68.8%. Yeah, whatever. He's just doing good. Combined, they are 5th and 7th. Loveland is 5th. Luther Burden is 7th in targets among the offense. Now they are, as they should be, as they should have been this entire season. But, like, Caleb Williams also decides to, like, chuck it, like, 10 yards in front of his receivers. Overthrow. They are also ranked 3rd, Loveland, and 5th, Burden, in receiving yards. And they have a much greater impact on the team than their usage would suggest. Why does Zacchaeus and Moore keep getting majority of passes then? If they are doing so much better, why aren't they getting more of the passes when they have a greater impact and they're just not getting used as much? Does that make sense? Does that? I don't know. We'll go to DJ Moore. Yeah, we'll talk about him for a little bit. We'll talk about DJ Moore. Ugh. So, DJ Moore, love and respect him. I gotta say that just to start. But he was not that great last game. He had 3 targets, even though they weren't targeting him that much. He caught, so like if you really think about it, he caught 33.33% of his passes. 1 for 3. Whatever. But he had 2 drops that hit him right in the chest, as I mentioned earlier. And the one ball he catches, it hits him. I think it was either thigh high or like waist high. It hits him. He catches it. It like bobbles down to his knees. He catches it between his legs, keeps possession, and it was a catch. How are you catching those and not simple hits you in the hands passes? And I was trying to like look at his drops to see if he like turned upfield too fast. No, he was still looking at the direction of the quarterback. He was still like looking to catch the ball when he caught them. So it's not like he turned upfield too fast. So it's like, that's understandable. And also, I just gotta mention, the one time I don't mention Colston Loveland in one of my TikToks, because I posted a TikTok because I do like a run thing each week. Or if the Bears win or lose, I run how many miles the point differential was. This week was 2. They won by 2 points. So I ran 2 miles. I posted on TikTok and was just like talking about it, but I didn't mention like what the challenge was, or like it was kind of just like if you're already like part of the audience, you understand what I'm doing, which I on my part, I should have explained as I do in all my other videos, but I'm like talking about DJ Moore. And I'm like, what he's getting paid for? Like, why can't he catch? Like, blah blah blah. It's like each week a new guy can't catch. The Bears comment. The Chicago Bears comment on that video. Slay and like sparkles. The one time I don't mention Colton Loveland. The one time. Ugh. Whatever. They commented. That's a good opportunity. That was cool. That was sick. Grateful for that. Ugh. Back to J.A. Moore. And not my little rant on my TikTok rant. But what's the weird thing about DJ Moore is that he has had 1 catch in his last 2 games. He had 0 catches. Well, it's also against the Giants because he was hurt. He had a shoulder injury. So I understand that. They were limiting him. But his 1 catch was for 18 yards. So not crazy, not too bad. Whatever. But again, it was that incredible leg catch. Which, like, King, how are you doing that? He also does have limited opportunities in this Bears run first offense, so that might be another issue. You know, they're trying to feed everyone, and they can't necessarily at the moment. So, DJ Moore, more of a veteran, is going to get less targets, less catches, because he's just dropping them. And, yeah. So just more things are going to end up not coming to him because of how he's been playing. But also, they had this entire week to work on it. So let's just hope he will be better next week. Speaking of next week is going to be a very fun episode if you want to tune in on Peyton's Work on Spotify and YouTube, Bases and Blitzes. I will be back home, and I will be collabing with my dad. We're going to be talking about baseball and football, of course, as I normally do. And I have some questions for him that I'm going to ask him, and I'm really excited for that episode. So make sure you tune in next week for episode 4, collab with my dad, and that should be so fun. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get the notification of next week's episode, but also this one, and anything I post in the future. And just follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, all at Peyton's Work. And yeah, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next week.